And hello guys, we're back. So this is a short little video I thought I'd do on how I get ready and prepped for upcoming steelhead season. So I'm gonna go through my rigging, the rod I'm using, and everything that you need to know for BC, Vancouver Island steelheading. The gear, the rods, whatever works best. So first off, you're gonna have your terminal tackle box with everything you need. So you have what do you have in there? You have some already pre-tieds up there. You have some hooks, leftover hooks, your swivels, bobber stops, as you can see. I'll get to that in a little bit. Then you have some weights. So that's your terminal tackle. So we're gonna open that up. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get right into it here, and let me push this back a little bit. There we go. Okay, we're gonna get right into it here, and I'm gonna show you the knot that I like to use. Now, it don't matter what hook you use. I have some red ones in there, as you've seen, and I also have, not all of them are barbless. My red ones are not, but I have some smaller octopus hooks. They're all octopus. I use octopus. So knot I'm gonna do is I go through the eye, basic bait knot, except I take a tail end out about to there, and I'll explain why in a minute. And then I'm gonna take it and wrap your basic bait knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 wraps. Grab that line like that. I'm gonna grab the other end. Grab the other end like that. Now don't go back through that way. Go back through like that. And pull it out to about there, right? So now you have 2 lines. That's the one you just put through. That runs back. This comes forward. Oop, wrong one. Wrong one. I did that backwards. This one goes back, and this one comes forward like that. There we go. And now we're going to wrap it another 7 times on there. We're going to wrap that another 7 times around there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? I gotta take a drink here. Hold on a sec, guys. Because you need moisture to wet your hook. Drinking the Monster Hydro. So, one more for good luck. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull it through a little bit, grab it, and soak it. Just like that. And that's gonna create the tension you need to tighten up your knot. Now you have a knot, as you can see. Let that focus for a minute. I don't know if you can see that knot. There, can you see the knot? There, you have a perfect bait knot. Now, with what I do with this, you got beads. Beads are one of the most effective way to catch steelhead on Vancouver Island. Now, as you can see, we have, let me stand up here. We have a multi-selection color of beads that you want to use. So for today, what we're going to tie up, I think, is a dead egg, because most of what's in the river right now is dead salmon that have just spawned. So where's my toothpicks? Dead salmon that have just spawned. So, and they're all dying, and the eggs are all falling out of them. So, which is basically acting like chummed water. Makes for good fishing. So you take your egg and you feed it over that little, right, that little tag end, let it drop down. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna fold it and make what we call a loop knot. Oop. So we pull that like that, make it a little bit shorter. You don't want it too long. So you make a loop knot, so you go around, right, like that. And then it's no big deal if your bead breaks, and you just cinch it up right there, just like that. And that's a nice strong knot now. And now what we do, we trim our tag end. This is only 8-pound test what I'm running as a leader, just so you all know. So I take the loop and I take the bead and I run the loop over top of the bead like that and cinch her down. And that's how my bead's on there. Now I take a toothpick for extra support. I'll take a toothpick like that and I'm gonna jam it in that hole. Real good. Make sure she's in there. Break it off, just like that, so that you're left with a clean, beaded rig, just like that. So, and now, right, so now we have that. Now, I know that a lot of guys will run their bead on this part of the line here, and they peg it like anywhere from here to here on their line, and they keep it pegged like that. I find that running a bead this way, with the bead behind the hook, is much more effective because you're not dragging your hook behind you when you're dragging it in the current, right? So we'll get to that in a minute. But when you're letting your rod and your float drift, you're basically letting it drift with the current towards the fish. So that fish is not going to see the egg very well sitting up here, right? As he would see it coming, floating behind the hook right there, and he's gonna come and slam it just like that, right? So you wanna bring him more to the hook. Dangle your egg down below your hook. Not too far, just a regular peg, just like that, and he'll see it, he'll inhale it, and he'll get hooked. So, and I get them all the time right here. And I'll run that rig even for salmon, and sometimes if you're not getting anything like that, stick a hunk of wool or something on, well, in our rivers you can't use roe except for some of the smaller ones, or bigger ones, I mean, up on Vancouver Island, higher on Vancouver Island. But yeah, you can use, if you're allowed roe, you can use roe, or you can use a piece of wool, right? Anything with attractive colors or scents, but you're not allowed to use scents in our rivers because in some of them, when you use scents, it's also considered a bait, so that's not good. So there, that's 1 leader done and ready for fishing. Let's wrap that up. I'm just doing a quick video here. We'll wrap that up on our leader peg. I know I don't usually use leader pegs. I've never been one for leader pegs, but I'm getting into them now because I find that my gear is getting all messed up. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna wrap it right around like this. Nice and taut, not tight, but taut, right? You just wrap it gently. Just so it makes that nice dent so I know where to wrap it next time. All right, and you just gently wrap just like that all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you take it and you bury it in there. Just like that. You're supposed to bury, it should bury in there. Don't know why it's not. We'll fix that right now. Bury it in there. Bury it right in there. Should go right across. Just like that. Should just cut right across it. And cut into it. Should. Not. Okay, why aren't you cutting into it, you piece of shit? Sorry, my attitude is not the best right now. We'll wrap it around the bead, just like that. There's one. So, okay, so we'll go on now. I'll show you the rod that I chose to use this year. And my reel. I'm getting into using this year. I have never used one of these. So this is going to be new for me. I'm using the Amundsen series center pin rod and reel. So that's your center pin, basic center pin rod, 10'6" rod and reel. So 4.5 to 5 inch reel. So They're real nice. They're smooth. It's not a real tough kind of, you know, hard to use reel. So I've got a clicker on it right here, so as you can hear that, right? And then I can set it off and I can have it on freewheel so that see how it's freewheeling here? So I can freewheel it, put my clicker on just like that for traveling, right? So now the way I'm gonna run my system here, a lot of people, I know they bottom bounce for steelhead or whatever, right? I'm not like that. I use floats, slip floats. As you can see, it slides on the line. So I'm not going to take this apart and set it up. I'll show you everything basic for now, how it's on here. And then when I'm down at the river, I'll give you a full-on, complete setup of how this goes. So first thing you're going to have is you're going to have your main line. I'm running 15-pound trilene. I don't usually run trilene. I run Suffix, which is really good as well. Trilene is good. I just never run it. But by far I use Suffix 15-pound, either monofilament or fluorocarbon. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to take your main line, obviously thread it through your eyes if you haven't done that already, and you're going to put your bobber on, right? So the way I do that is you have to put a bobber stop on first. So you put the bobber stop, put your bead so that it sits below the bobber stop, not above. So don't think that the bead's supposed to be sitting above the bobber stop, right? So when you put this all together, this will be facing the other way, right? It'll be facing like that. So your bobber stop will be here, your bobber will be here, right? Blah, 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 and right? So, and you get the idea. Anyways, your beads aren't really supposed to go through the eye. I don't know why I'm fucking with that. But anyway, so you have a bobber stop. I don't know if you can see that little right there. You get a little yellow thing below the bead. So you have a bobber stop, you put that on, tighten it down, not tight enough, not so tight that you can't move it around. You want to be able to slide it up and down your line, but tight enough that it's not going to move on its own. So you run your bead after that, and then you'll come up to your float and you'll put that on. So that'll sit like this down at the bottom with a bead, another bead system, right? That'll sit. But when you cast, that bead that you have down here on your bobber stop will stop up here, and it'll stop it from going any further in the water. So you can have your float sitting this far from your weight, you can have it sitting this far from your weight, and the bead will, you know, the bead and bobber stop will stop it. Otherwise, if you don't have a bead on there, the bobber stop's just going to go through. I don't know if you can see that big hole right there. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to run a bead underneath of your bobber stop. Big bead, small bead, it don't matter. Then you're going to you want to try and basically roughly match the weight of your float. So my float is a quarter ounce, big float, quarter ounce weighted float, so that it sits properly in the water. So I either use, I call them pin floats, but I don't think that's what they're actually called. I think they're called loafer style floats. So that's what I've heard them called anyways. I sometimes use those. They're fixed floats, and I use 1/8 of an ounce float on that one, non-weighted. So that one I have to really match, and it's fixed. But these weighted ones help, because then you only need a little, you know, quarter ounce, not even a quarter ounce. You only need a tiny little weight like that, right? Just because this has got a little weight in it. This has got your weight here, so you're pretty much balanced out in weight there, right? You don't want to add too much more than that. And then you'll tie on a swivel. After that is sitting on there, right? You'll tie on your barrel swivel there, right? And I use a different knot than everybody else, which I'll show you in a minute. Extremely strong. And then you tie on your leader there, as you can see, with the same knot. And then run it down. And your leader will have, this one I have it pegged differently, right? I have it pegged on the top end, and there's my hook, not below the hook, as you can see. So I might switch it out and put that one on after, just because I feel like it. But yeah, that's my basic rod and reel setup for this year. Never ever, like I said, never ever have I fished center pin. This will be the first time, so we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping I can get the hang of it real quick, pretty quick anyways. So I'm hoping. Put that back on like that to keep it all together. And then with a Munson, you get your nice reel case and your Munson rod. This, like I said, is a 10-foot 6. Ideally for casting these, you want an 11-foot 3, 11-foot 6, 10-foot 6, 13. The longer the rod, the better, because you can, when you're casting, you don't just cast like a regular rod and whip it out there, right? So you'll take it, you'll hold it like this, you'll palm the reel like this. You'll take it, hold it down here, go back, let go of the reel, go forward, just like that. And that is all you need to do. There is other specific casts called the Wallace cast. I don't know how to do that one. You can do that if you know how to do it. I don't. I do the basic BC swing or swing cast. Another thing when you're casting these, if you are doing the Wallace cast or any kind of cast like that, do not pull your line out to the side and then cast, because your line, you have to do a special way and leave a loop so that it goes through your finger like a loop, and you guide it all the way up to the top eye. And but that creates a lot of amount of line twist in your rod, which you're trying to avoid with these specific types of reels. You do not want line twist. So yeah, so that's my setup that I'm trying this year. I figured, what the hell, 300 bucks. It was on sale, 20% off at the fishing store here in town, the local fishing store. You can go and get a center pin set up anywhere really, in any of your local fishing outfitters, or Cabela's even has them. Probably Bass Pro, if you're around a Bass Pro shop, might have them. Even Wholesale Sports, if you know them, they ran out of business on the island here where I'm from. So anyways, I'm going to be changing the name of my channel soon to BC Outdoors Vancouver Island Steelheader. BC Outdoors on Vancouver Island Steelheading. So catch my videos. Hopefully subscribe and like the channel and the video. Okay, talk to y'all soon. BC Outdoors and Steelheader. Talk to you soon.